am Zazubaar, and welcome to another Legendary Pictures Godzilla 3D news and update video. I can't believe we're almost there, man. Almost fucking there. We are exactly 1 month and 11 days away from the official worldwide release of Legendary Pictures reboot to Godzilla. Directed by Gareth Edwards, written by Dave Callahan and Max Borenstein, starring Bryan Cranston, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and all those other people, and of course starring the returning to his iconic role of playing himself, Godzilla. And based on what I'm going to talk about today and all previous stuff released for the film, including the glorious poster I now have hanging above my bed, which Future Bill will probably post a picture of up on the screen. If he doesn't, he's a fucktard, and I apologize for his behavior. So I can't, based on all that shit, it looks like he's back in rare form, man. He's back, and it's the Godzilla we all know and love causing mayhem. But we'll still see. We'll have to still see the film in order to make sure that that's not all false promises. So we'll see when we get there on May 16th. But what am I here to discuss today? I usually like to spread these videos out by a lot because I only usually like to do them for really, really big things, like back when this was still happening. I mean, the movie's done now. It's like when casts would get announced and a director and all that stuff. I would do videos about it, but as we've kind of gone on, it's weird. You would think the more stuff produced, the more videos I would do, because there's more to talk about. Not really true, because back in the day, back a couple years ago, when we didn't know anything about this movie, every little piece of news counted, so I would do videos about all of it. Now, everything's getting released so quickly that it's like, do I really have to do a video about this frickin' box art for a toy that came out, or some version of the origin written down on said toy box? It's it gets to the point where you just don't want to do videos about all of it because there's so much of it, so you do less stuff. So you do the major benchmarks. I usually do it when trailers get released, and I do it when major things happen. But it hasn't been that long since I did the last one, so this one not that big of a margin, but it had been like a couple months last time in between videos. But we're here, and what are we here to talk about? So I said trailers, and trailers is what brings us together today, ladies and gentlemen, because, oh boy, we were all riding Legendary's nuts for years for not putting out a trailer for this goddamn movie. And I think they heard our cries, because we got a full 7-day week. No. Well, there are 7 trailers, or 8 trailers technically, but it came out over the course of 5 days. So basically a week's worth of new Godzilla trailers. 1 to 2 coming out per day. It's intense. So they heard our cries and they're like, alright, we're gonna fucking step up now. We're gonna put out a trailer every goddamn day. And it was like, Jesus, Legendary, alright, you're fucking stepping your game up. I appreciate that, I respect that. So here we are. Here I am sitting down about to review a week's worth of Godzilla trailers. And actually an extra one, because I didn't do a video about the international trailer, but as you'll see when we get into the nitty-gritty, it's pretty much like what we're coming to now is because now we're so close that I think we've gotten now to the point where we've learned everything we're gonna learn about this movie before seeing it. I think we've reached that point. Almost all of the major points that you need to know before you go see a new Godzilla movie have been hit. We've got the roar, we've got the design, we've got the other monsters' designs, we've got the basic plot, we've got an image of how Godzilla's going to look destroying stuff. We've got all of the major benchmarks of what you need to know about a Godzilla movie before you go and see it over the course of the now roughly 10 trailers we've had for the movie. There are really only 2 things that we haven't gotten that I still want to get before we go see the movie. And one of them is we have technically gotten, but it's been a little strange. So I'm going to say the one that's strange first. So the one thing we haven't really gotten for the movie, really, is hearing the new Godzilla roar coming out of Godzilla's mouth. We've gotten the new Godzilla roar. We know what it's going to sound like, and it sounds pretty kick-ass. It sounds like Godzilla's roar. but we haven't really gotten it coming out of his mouth. What they've done is every time it's in the trailers, and they did this for all the trailers that came out this week and the prior ones, is that the roar is built in with music to accompany like "Ba-doom, Godzilla." So it's kind of part of the soundtrack. It's more so than being a sound effect. Before we see this movie, I really want to see one. I really want to hear it just coming out of Godzilla's mouth. Because it's kind of the same thing as hearing dialogue for the movie. I mean, it's Godzilla's vocalization. You want to hear it separate from audio, separate from trailer fucking like popping boo 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 explosions, Muto creature, bam. I want to hear it coming out of his mouth isolated on screen before the movie happens. So we'll see if that happens. The other big thing I want to see before the movie actually fucking comes out is I really want to no, not see, these are both audio things. I really want to hear somebody in the movie call Godzilla Godzilla. It's interesting because I say that, but at the same time it's like, oh, name a trailer for like some kind of franchise movie now where the name of the character is said in the trailer. This is so bizarre. Like, think about it. Man of Steel, Superman is only called Superman twice, and it's not even in person. What else? Hulk, he only gets called Hulk in the Avengers a couple times, and he does get called in the trailer. Never mind. In the Incredible Hulk, for instance, we only hear passing mentions of him being called the Hulk at the end. But that being said, it's like, I don't know, his name is the title, so I kind of I want one line where somebody's like, back in the 50s, we had a name for this creature. It was Godzilla. Because that's what they're going with. If you read all the stuff building up to the release, what they're saying is that the name Godzilla is derived from a South Seas sea monster legend, just like it was in the original. So I think that I really want to hear meaning there's a precedent for it, meaning nobody created it in the universe of the film, meaning that somebody a long time ago in Japan's history said they saw some kind of sea monster and they called it Gojira or Godzilla. So bearing that in mind, there's a precedent for it, and more than that, in this continuity, there's a precedent for this creature interacting with people, and there's a major conspiracy built up around Godzilla. We don't know the ins and outs of it, and I don't want to before I go see the movie, but there's a precedent for calling this thing Godzilla, and because there's a precedent, I think that it's more than okay and would be really awesome to fucking hear somebody call him Godzilla in one of the trailers. Again, maybe there's something being said for like, oh, I want to hear it in the movie, but I don't know, it's not the same thing as seeing a monster fight or learning major plot spoilers and all that. It's like, I don't know, that's something that I don't need to wait to see the movie to hear. I mean, I guess it's kind of cool enough just to hear a trailer announcer go, Godzilla, to finally hear those words on the big screen again, or even just in a new movie. But even still, again, I just want to hear it once. Just one character, just like at the end of a trailer, be like Dr. Serizawa would be the perfect character. We should talk about that too. We'll get into that later. Dr. Serizawa should be like, they called it Godzilla at the end of the trailer or something. That'd be awesome. That'd be like, all right, we're going now. I think that would get people over the edge. Just fucking let's get in line now to go see this movie. So those are my two things I want to see before the movie comes out, or hear rather, in some of the trailers before the movie comes out, because I think we're going to get at least one more trailer. Just one more trailer right before the movie, like a launch trailer for Godzilla. Most movies do that. So I think that like the week the movie comes out, we're going to get one final trailer and then a bunch of TV spots. And I have already seen some of these TV spots on TV, so that's cool. But that being said, I guess we should just get right into it. Let's just get into the trailers that we're here to talk about. Just disclaimer before we get going, I'm not going to cover each one individually, really, because if I do, A, this video would be way too long, and it's already going to be pretty long, and B, I feel like if I do that, I'm going to be repeating myself, A, from the videos I've already done, and B, because the thing with these TV spots and with the extended look and with the international trailer, I feel like they're all kind of building on the same shots and the same scenes. Like I kind of feel like they've shown us everything they're gonna show us before we get to the movie theater. I think that that's what the point we've gotten to with the movie being so close to release. So that being said, if I go really in depth on each one, and more than that, each one is really fucking short. Even the extended look is only 2.5 minutes long, which isn't much longer than the main trailer. I feel like I'm gonna be repeating myself and kind of overanalyzing. So we're gonna cover the major things we've learned over the course of this past week, the major things that have happened in the world of Godzilla 2014, what we've learned from these trailers and the big points. So let's start out with the international trailer, because I didn't talk about that. I don't think I think I talked about it on DFOS, but again, it's on DFOS. We fucking get off track in 3 seconds. So I'll do it on my own terms. So let's cover the international trailer first, and we'll build on from there. One of the major things that has happened over the course of all these trailers coming out is one particular shot has stayed in the mind of in the minds of people watching. And that is a shot of Godzilla walking through fog, looming over what looks like, I'm guessing it's either Japan or Hawaii. I'm guessing one of those two, because there's like these Chinese lanterns hanging overhead. So maybe Godzilla attacks China. It wouldn't be the first time. He attacked Hong Kong in Godzilla vs. Destroya. But you can't really tell where it is. We know at least we know probably Godzilla's first attack is going to be in Hawaii, which is both shown in the extended look trailer. And I read a review of Gareth Edwards. I think I talked about this already. Gareth Edwards did this screening of like several full scenes of the movie in London, and also at South by Southwest in the past month or two. And apparently, everyone was like, I'm not allowed to spoil it, so I can't tell you major things, but I can tell you that Godzilla's first attack is in Honolulu. That's one of the major things that has been reported. So that's what I'm assuming, where I'm assuming it's going to be in the stories. That's going to be Godzilla's first attack is Honolulu or some Hawaiian island, and it's definitely Hawaii. I mean, just watch the trailer. It's got to be Hawaii. Which, by the way, that scene has been in all the trailers, and each time it's epic of Godzilla attack, of like Godzilla coming out of the water and crashing all this just water onto the island. Because there's this one idea, and I guess I should get to this later, but fuck it, I'm gonna go out of order with this Honolulu attack scene that has been really fucking impressing me. In most Godzilla movies, especially in the Millennium series, they do usually address the idea of Godzilla's a really big thing. So anything that big is going to displace a lot of water when it comes out of the water. I mean, if you watch a whale breach, a lot of water gets kicked up, and when it comes down, the water creates big waves. And that's doubled with Godzilla, because Godzilla's a lot bigger than a whale, and also building up a lot of water on top of him, and then just letting it all crash down. In the extended trailer, which it's hard because the extended trailer is so fucking good, but I think one of my favorite parts about it is, and I had to keep rewatching it because I couldn't see it at first because I watched it at the first time on my iPhone. So when I watched it on my big computer screen, I did full screen, and I did some freeze framing. So here's what happens. Let's do a breakdown of that scene, and we'll talk about it in each trailer so we're not wasting time. So what we know happens is Honolulu gets flooded like a frickin' tsunami hit. And it's usually done with narration of Bryan Cranston saying, "This isn't a natural disaster." And it's done, I suppose, in an ironic way, showing, but it sure as hell looks like one, and that's that's one of the things that has allowed Godzilla to be a conspiracy for all these years, for 60 years. And what we learn in the extended trailer is we get the prelude to that. All the trailers that they've had so far, that's just happened. That's been the flood has happened. And then they've done aftermath of all the cars floating, and a couple and one of my favorite shots so far that I've seen in the movie is presumably Aaron Taylor Johnson's character and a fellow soldier just looming over just this like flood of water with all this burning debris in it and this like sad like choir music playing. Oh god, it is so perfect for Godzilla and just so dramatic. I love it. So one of my favorite things about this is the build up to it, which we really haven't gotten any of so far. So the build up to this concept is, think about when you're on a beach, when a wave is building, water gets sucked in and then it comes in. So here's what they show. They have like this what I'm presuming is a luau on the beach. You got a dog barking at the water, kind of again building on the whole natural disaster thing. And you've got a kid looking out of the water as something very subtle but very creepy is happening. So just like you would see on a beach, the water is getting sucked out, but it keeps getting sucked out. It's not stopping. Keeps getting sucked out, keeps getting sucked out. The entire pier is just barren. The boardwalk is extending out and is no longer touching the water. And over time, you just see the water build and build and build, but also the water is getting sucked out, building on top of this, into this giant mountain of just water. And you don't see the spikes in this shot, but you can tell that's what they're building to. I'm not sure where the placement of the shots of Godzilla's spikes in the official trailer come from, and it's also in one of the TV spots, but I assume it's probably in this scene. This is just a different angle of it. And then they play this really cool this alarm. I'm going to compare it to I don't know what they call it, but back in the 50s you would just sound off this alarm, this giant air horn, like a fire alarm, but it's for air raids. You know, you would be like, oh, the bombs are coming, back during the Cold War. Kind of what happens here. It kind of reminded me, I guarantee that this is going to be paralleled. It kind of reminded me of, you know, listening to stories of what happened during Pearl Harbor, of the air horns going off and all the alarms ringing as the planes were coming, and I imagine that that's going to be paralleled in this attack scene, and that's what I was kind of reminded of. But just the image, and again, I think it's almost cooler that I had to keep rewatching it to see it, because when I watched it the first time on my iPhone, I was like, what are they all scared of? Nothing's happening. It's just a bunch of water. Or not a bunch of water, it's just the ocean with darkness, and I just couldn't see it because I was looking at it on an iPhone screen. And then I watched it big, and I was like, oh, that's what they're scared of. And then you've got the alarm going off. And then you get this great shot of this dog pulling itself off a leash and running through the city, running away from this giant water wave fucking crashing into the city. And you've got this father carrying his daughter, and it's fucking horrifying. And then the water finally crashes down. You get the shot from the trailer, from the official trailer of all the water crashing through. And then, there's this amazing, again, what the extended look has kind of done is it's pieced together fragments of scenes we've seen in the other trailers, and this one not only connects the different shots of the water crashing down on Honolulu, it also connects the different shots of, it connects the water crashing down, the aftermath, people looking on, and then it connects a shot that I didn't even know was from this scene in the official trailer of those soldiers shooting flares up in the air, and all the flares come down, and they reveal Godzilla's torso, and that's done in a one-shot tracking shot. I thought that was so fucking cool. I thought that was amazing. You follow the people's eyes as lights are going out, as there's a blackout happening, which makes sense that would happen. And then they track up the building as lights go out, and it ends up on these soldiers sitting on the roof. They fire the flares, we follow the flares, and we end up on Godzilla's torso. Oh, that's so cool. It's probably my favorite part about this whole week of trailers, but that's hard to say. There's a lot to like, and there's a lot to talk about. Let's see. I guess we can kind of go in order now because there's nothing immediately I want to jump to aside from that's really fucking cool. I guess let's talk about the build-up of the whole 15 years ago incident of Bryan Cranston's wife and the nuclear meltdown at Janjira in Japan, and what he says, it wasn't a natural disaster. I have a right to know. We haven't really learned that much. We don't know what exactly is happening. I mean, it's some kind of nuclear meltdown is occurring. We're just not sure what. what exactly causes it? I mean, it can't be Godzilla. Godzilla can't be causing this. Like what we see in the extended trailer that we haven't really seen before is what happens is this nuclear power plant literally falls into the earth. Definitely causing a nuclear meltdown like what happened in Japan a couple of years ago with the earthquake, which I'm assuming is something that's going to be paralleled when the movie comes out, which has kind of been confirmed already. And what we still can't figure out is exactly what's happening. It's got to be connected to Godzilla somehow, but I'm assuming it's indirectly because he wouldn't be able to do what we're looking at. If Godzilla caused it, you would see him do it. What we've seen in all the trailers building up to this, and what we see more of in this trailer, is people running out of the nuclear power plant kind of falling into the earth. I was very much so reminded of what Baragon was doing in Frankenstein Conquers the World, where just entire power stations and towns would fall into the earth, and you would see Baragon's face looking at you as he was causing it. Godzilla's not a burrower in this fucking universe. As opposed to what Roland Emmerich turned him into. So I'm assuming it's not directly connected to Godzilla. I'm assuming it's more so connected to the Mutos. Because in the various trailers we've seen them in various states of coming up out of the earth, and we know that there's some kind of connection to holes in the earth that are connected to most likely the Mutos and not Godzilla. That's been built up ever since Comic-Con. So, we really don't know what exactly is going on. And we really don't know what exactly is causing the meltdown. Again, it can't be Godzilla. There's no way. I'm assuming it's gotta be the Mutos. And if it is the Mutos, then I'm really interested to see what their connection is to Godzilla exactly. And let's just say this: we fucking see the Mutos in these new trailers, and we see them with Godzilla, which we haven't seen yet, which is really fucking cool, including a bit of a fight scene. So we'll get to that. But again, I'm assuming it's got to be them. I'm really interested to see, because I'm really interested to see a couple things. One, how the timeline of this universe plays out, because we know Godzilla was awakened in 54. And I talked about this in my last video, we're not sure what's going on with the nukes, what exactly is going on with his origin. We know based on the Godzilla toy line release with his origin written out on the back that it's kind of the same as it's always been done. He's the last kind of an aquatic reptile that also goes on land. That in this continuity, they're saying that this species of reptile could survive in a harsher radioactive environment, which I guess makes sense. It depends on what time they're talking about. Like, it almost sounds like Gamera's original origin, where he was this species of turtle that, and I'm referring to Gamera the Invincible. They did it a little different in the Japanese version, where he was this species of turtle that fed on fucking fire, or even kind of Gigantus the Fire Monster, where they said that Godzilla and Anguirus were, or Gigantus and Anguirus, excuse me, they were these creatures that survived in a high nitrogen, high carbon environment that was filled with fire, and the air was almost fire. So I'm assuming that's what they're referring to. I'm cool with that. It gives a scientific or a pseudo-scientific explanation for why Godzilla survives the H-bomb. I really just hope that they're going to push for, but it mutated him, because otherwise, I don't like the idea of Godzilla not being a mutant. It just doesn't make sense to me, and I think Godzilla's cooler as a mutant. It just makes him unique, as opposed to just being a surviving dinosaur. That's fine, that's what he is, but I'm hoping that what he is now is different than what he was back in 54. That's my only thing. And I don't mind them using nukes to try and kill him. It makes perfect sense. I just hope that that's not it. I hope that there's more to it than that. And I would assume so, because they're not going to reveal the whole thing in a couple trailers. I'm assuming there's more to Godzilla's origin in this universe than what they're letting on. So we'll see when the movie comes out. This is just all building to me saying I'm really curious to see how all this ties together. How Godzilla's origin, his original attack in 50, or not original attack, because the original Godzilla didn't happen, but his original string of attacking the islands back in 54 with presumably the American government bombing him, how this all connects to Bryan Cranston's wife dying and the nuclear meltdown, where the Mutos come from. I'm just really curious to see how it ties together. I'm assuming, based on prior Godzilla stories and based on how this has usually been done in Godzilla continuities, I'm assuming this is all going to be like the Mutos are like experiments that were done on Godzilla cells because of what Godzilla was, that like they were trying to weaponize them or something. I'm assuming that's what they're going to go for, and I'm assuming that that's going to connect to the nuclear meltdown. Maybe, this is just a theory, maybe they were testing on Mutos at that nuclear power facility, using them as a power supply, or using the plant as a power supply to create the Mutos. Who knows? We just don't know, people. We just don't know. But I'm desperately trying to figure it out, because I'll feel smart then if I go see the movie and I'm like, I fucking knew it! And then people will tell me to shut up in the movie theater, and I'll get kicked out and not be able to watch the new Godzilla. That's going to be what happens, and I'm going to come home and cry about it. No. I'm just really interested to see how this all ties together, why they're returning in 2014, all this stuff. I'm really curious, and I can't wait to see it all play out. They've really set up a really interesting story. I mean, this movie literally looks like the perfect storm. Not the movie The Perfect Storm, but like the perfect storm of different things. And I said this in a Facebook post earlier, and this is mostly based on the extended look and these prior teaser trailers. This literally looks like the perfect storm of everything we wanted from a Godzilla reboot. Godzilla looks like Godzilla. Godzilla's acting like Godzilla. Godzilla's origin is similar enough to the original and all the other continuities where, while still having a different take, that it's Godzilla. It looks incredibly emotional. The acting looks amazing. The characters are fascinating. Just based on these little fucking Muto little like confidentiality files they've been putting out on Dr. Serizawa and on Ford Brody and on Joe Brody and on L Brody. And let me just say this, because it's been bugging me. Whenever I talk about the characters in this movie, I can't help but think of Jaws. And I'm kind of wondering if Gareth Edwards is doing a little bit of a reference to Spielberg with the last name Brody of the protagonists of this film. Of course, Chief Brody being the protagonist in Jaws, because I cannot hear the word Brody without thinking of Jaws. So I'm assuming that's gotta be a reference somehow. I doubt that they picked that name out of thin air. I'm assuming it's gotta be a reference. Anyway, but the characters look fascinating. They look emotional. Bryan Cranston's performance, at least in the trailers, is amazing and incredibly touching. When he, especially in the Whatever It Takes trailer, which is one of the TV spots they put out, where he's saying, "Go back to your family, keep them safe, whatever it takes, whatever it takes." And his voice is cracking, and I don't know what's going on, but his performance just touched me, and I really can't wait to see his character Joe Brody in action. Oh god, this movie just looks perfect. It's emotional, and Gareth Edwards has talked about how that's something he went for. He really didn't want this to be one of the typical action movies that you see nowadays, where there's a lot of action, a lot of explosions, but you don't give a fuck about the characters. That doesn't look, and even if all those moments of emotional connection and likability are in the trailers, at least it's there. At least we'll have that to connect with, because I'm just in, man. I'm so ready to like these characters, like their connection to Godzilla, like them in the universe. I'm just fucking ready, bro. I'm just ready. But also, it looks incredibly epic. It doesn't look like the emotional and the emotionality and emotional, is that a word even? The emotional aspects and the character development and the likability of the characters. I already like these characters based on the trailers. Especially Bryan Cranston's Joe Brody. I am just there. He looks incredibly tragic, number one, but he also looks just really likable, like a really likable guy. I'm just ready, dude. I'm ready. What else? Oh, and again, it just looks epic. It just looks, the destruction scenes look amazing. The monster fights from what we've seen look amazing. It looks like a lot of stuff is going to blow up. Godzilla is going to destroy a lot of buildings, so I don't think you really have to worry about this movie sacrificing the action that would be derived from this situation in order to get some fucking character development, which is like a no-no in Hollywood these days. It's like, no, you can sacrifice character development for the action. I mean, in this case, it's like it almost looks like you have to worry about their sacrificing action for character development, which I don't mind. But, I mean, in the Godzilla movie, you want him to be at least somewhat the focus. Anyway, that's definitely not a concern. I mean, the movie just looks amazing on the action front. I really like that Gareth Edwards is shooting Godzilla like an action horror movie. Because it's one of those things that Godzilla has always been on kind of a really fine line of. I mean, I really don't consider any Godzilla movies except for the original in '84 to be horror movies. Maybe GMK and a couple. You know what? GMK is weird because it's almost more of a tribute to American horror movies than it actually being a horror movie. It's weird. With the teenagers dying and that all building into Godzilla coming back. Once Godzilla comes back, it kind of stops being that. But in the first 40 minutes, it really comes off like a tribute to American horror, which is weird, and I really don't know why. But if you listen to my review of GMK, that's one of the problems I had with it. I was like, why is this spending so much time tributing American horror movies when this should be a Godzilla movie? But I think '84 is probably the scariest of all the Godzilla movies. 54 is very apocalyptic in its tone, but I was never really afraid of 54. Even now, I watch parts of Godzilla '84 and I get a little chilled. It's just chilling. And it's uncomfortable and it's frightening because you're realizing the gravity of this situation. And it looks like that's going to be a major factor in this movie. But again, I think it's a fine line because you really, in a Godzilla movie, you don't want to fear Godzilla being on screen, if that makes any sense. Godzilla has always kind of been like the Hulk for me. If you watch The Incredible Hulk, you like Bruce Banner, you follow his journey, and you don't want him to turn into the Incredible Hulk because that's a bad thing, but at the same time, you're like, I kind of want him to do it because it looks amazing and I want to see the Hulk tear shit up. That's how you do Godzilla. You do Godzilla like that. You don't want to fear Godzilla coming on screen like the Alien, for example. You don't want to fear it to kill your characters. I mean, that's where the fine line comes in, and that's where the writers and the directors have a real balancing act of making this concept work in all the ways it should. Godzilla should be fun to watch, but also scary enough. If this was really, thank God this isn't real, because if it was, this would suck. So that it's kind of an interesting fine line, and it looks like, based on the trailers, that's going to be something that they balance pretty well. Is Godzilla's not going to be so scary where you fear him being on screen, and I think that if that were to happen, it'd be a really if they fucked it up not fucked it up that bad, but if they did that, they'd have to try for it. You'd have to really try hard to make me not want to see Godzilla on screen because he's so scary. You'd have to have Godzilla literally pick up a bunch of people in his hand and eat them. That's, to me, that's where it's all right, this ain't Godzilla. That's not what Godzilla does. That being said, there's an amazing shot in one of the and thanks to the good folks at Toho Nation for pointing this out, because I didn't even know that was supposed to be in the trailer. In one of the trailers, I think it's the Courage. No, which one is it? Oh, it's the It Can't Be Stopped trailer, which again, one of the TV spots where you see Aaron Taylor Johnson's Ford Brody with he's clearly been in a big firefight or fighting Godzilla, and his soldier gear is all fucked up. And his gun isn't in his hand, and he's kind of he looks over horrified. The city around him is destroyed. He looks up, and what I thought when I first saw it was supposed to be Godzilla's foot coming down, but then I thought, wait a minute, that's not. We know what the feet look like infamously. If you listen to SOS, you know our feelings on the feet. So we know that's not what the feet looks like, and we see the feet in the other trailer. So, what is that? Is that one of the Mutos? And somebody in Toho Nation was like, oh, doesn't everybody love the scene of Godzilla's hand coming down? And I was like, that is what that's supposed to be, isn't it? I didn't put the two and two together of, yeah, that's Godzilla's hand coming down, ripping through the ground. And it's really cool because we've never really, it's happened before, but we've never seen Godzilla do it to kill someone. At least we have seen it, but it's never looked this in this way. In Godzilla 2000, Godzilla interacted a lot with the human characters in the opening scene and the last scene, where Godzilla intentionally killed someone. or at least tried to, and then in one case actually did. In the opening, Godzilla encounters Shinoda and the G Prediction Network on like a cliff, and they point the lights up at Godzilla, and he looks down at them, and then he slams his hand down on the bridge to try and kill them, and then he puts his feet in the tunnel to try and kill them. That's what that reminded me of, and I'm really glad that we're seeing that. And somebody also pointed out in Toho Nation, something I agree with. I like that they're doing stuff with the CG Godzilla that you can't really do with a suit. You can't really have Godzilla bring his hand down to street level and rip through it. Or at least have it look very good. So I'm glad that they're doing that with the CG Godzilla. Again, it makes sense. If you're going to do a CG Godzilla, do everything you can't do with a suit in CG, while still retaining the designs of those suits to make them look like Godzilla. You don't want to make Godzilla... Again, that's what made Zilla a problem, was that they literally said, oh, we're not bound by a suit, let's fuck with the whole design. And it looks like they're taking as many liberties as they can with the CG to still retain the design. They're giving Godzilla a build that you really couldn't put a guy in a suit for. He's a little bit more hunched over. The feet are really stubby, which, again, I'm still not crazy about. But I've learned to live with it, especially how they're used in the, what was it? I can't, no, wait, what the fuck was it? Is it the Courage trailer? I don't remember. One of the trailers is Godzilla. It's an image of one of the airport scenes, because back during Comic-Con 2013, it was Comic-Con 2013. So somebody somewhere talked about, was it 2020? I don't remember, dude. I don't remember. 2013, I guess, of Godzilla attacking one of the Muto creatures at an airport, and that's clearly what we're looking at now, where Godzilla's feet are just crashing down on planes, and we see the stubby Godzilla feet in all their glory. I still would prefer normal, elongated Godzilla feet, but I've learned to live with it. And, again, Godzilla's fucking shit up with those feet, so, again, I've learned to live with it. They just don't look like Godzilla feet to me, and they just don't look right with the rest of the body. But, again, learn to live with it. So, yeah, I'm really glad they're doing stuff with the CG Godzilla that they can't do with the suit, and what the fuck was I talking about before I got on that point? Oh, I suppose I was talking about all the images of Godzilla we got, because we got a lot of stuff we hadn't seen before in these new trailers. There's 2 or 3 I'd like to point out. One, we've gotten a couple of new shots of Godzilla roaring at the camera. There was that one from the official trailer of him roaring with the doors closing that everybody fucking talked about. That was the big one of, it's a Godzilla money face shot. And in this case, it looks like, and in this case, we get much closer and much more cool shots of Godzilla doing this. Again, I think we got 2 or 3. I think the first one is the coolest. In the first TV spot we got, where Godzilla just looks up and just fucking roars. And it's the closest shot we had of Godzilla to that point. I was like, oh my god, there he is! It's Godzilla! Oh, I was freaking out. And he just looks so fucking good. He looks like Godzilla. I mean, it gets to the point where it's like, that sounds redundant, but that's just what it is. He looks like Godzilla. I just love that shot. And it looks like, I didn't agree with this to begin with, but all those people who are like, oh, this movie looks like shit because they're not showing the monsters on set. That's how they talk in my mind. To all those people, they've been shut down by this trailer, by this series of trailers. We got plenty of shots of Godzilla fucking shit up separately of obstructions and dust and people. Again, I just like to point out to those people, in case they're listening, these are trailers, and they still want to save some of the movie for the movie. So I'm assuming that we're gonna get a lot of scenes of Godzilla fucking shit up without obstruction, like all non-Cloverfield style, outside of these trailers. So cool your jets. I'm sure it'll be in there. And based on this trailer, based on these series of trailers, it looks like that's gonna be true. What else do I want to discuss? Oh, yeah. Let me discuss this while we're on the different shots of Godzilla. Godzilla's body shape seems to change depending on the trailer. And this is a big thing because a bunch of merchandise for Godzilla 2014 has come out in the past 2 weeks. Some of which I've bought. I bought a T-shirt. I bought a poster, and that was it. I'm planning on getting I'm planning on getting the NECA 2014 Godzilla when it comes out. But I do want to get one of the toys as well, just to kind of have it in the meantime, because they're going to be cheap. And I want one. So I'm going to go out to a store and buy one tomorrow. What was I saying? Oh, Godzilla's body shape seems to change depending on the trailer. So in one trailer, again, one of my favorites, we see this shot of Godzilla getting hit by missiles while over a bridge, and it looks like he's fighting something, whether it be the military or one of the Mutos, we don't know. Godzilla's fighting something, and he's getting shot with missiles, and his arms look really short. It looks like they're kind of doing a modified version of T-Rex arms, which I was like, ugh, I don't like that. And he looks really hunched over. But then you look at like the shot in the fog of with Godzilla in silhouette. He's standing really upright, and his arms look really long. And on the T-shirt I have, which is an image from the movie, Godzilla's standing really upright. His arms are really long. He's able to do things with them that he really hasn't even been able to do in the Toho movies. They look really long and straight. So I don't know what exactly is going on with his design, but it seems to change based on the image. The other thing is that Godzilla also, on the poster that I have, which I showed earlier, Godzilla's got very clear eyes, very emotional, deep-looking eyes with pupils and an iris and all that good stuff. It's not GMK where his eyes are blank. But then in most of the shots of him in these trailers, his eyes look blank, and I'm assuming that's just because of the lighting, but we haven't really seen an image of Godzilla in motion with really clear eyes, and I'm assuming that's going to be in the movie rather than in these trailers. So I thought that was weird too. But again, I'm not sure. I think it's just the angles, and it's not like, oh, his design changes from scene to scene. But that's something that definitely stuck out to me as well. But again, he looks great, and he looks like Godzilla, and I'm not complaining. I'm just pointing out what I noticed. Oh god, that shot of him getting hit with the missiles in that other trailer. Oh, it was so cool. Because it's like this Godzilla's getting like hit, and he's hitting the building, and he's roaring. Oh, it's awesome. So fucking good. I'm really interested to see the progression of where certain things happen in the movie. Again, I talked about the Honolulu thing earlier, and the nuclear power plant melting down. But in terms of like where the climax is going, again, I'm assuming the climax is going to take place in San Francisco. That seems to be what they're building up. But I don't know, man. I'm just interested to see how everything happens and why. That's what I'm really interested to see. And I guess that's the point of seeing a movie in theaters. But I say that because just based on what we've seen, it looks like it looks so. I can't figure, because I can't figure it out in my mind. I keep saying, oh, I wonder why that's happening. I wonder why Godzilla's in front of that bridge. I wonder where that happens in the movie. Again, it's just me. Again, I should shut up because it's like you're gonna see it when you see the movie, motherfucker. That stuck out to me as well. What else do I want to discuss, really? I guess I'll talk about the Mutos a little bit. I guess I should, because this is the clearest images we've seen of them, and we get to see one fighting Godzilla, so I suppose I should mention it. In the extended look, and also in one of the prior trailers, you see the Muto's face really up close, and now we know for sure that the monster that rips that train apart in all the trailers is the Muto with his mouth, and not Godzilla, and not a hand. It's clearly the Muto's mouth. But the Mutos, and because there's a couple of them, they look great. They look like, they don't look as Cloverfield-ish in the trailers as they did in their toy versions. I think that was just because those were crappy $5 toy versions. And I was like, why do they look like the Cloverfield monster? And it just looks cliched. They look really cool in the movie. And the big thing that's sticking out to me is the glowing red eyes on the top of these crests they have. Their heads almost look like the Gauss head from Heisei Gamera, where they've got this armor-plated, like, this crest on the top of their head and the beak. And then instead of, like, Gallus, where the eyes are below it, the eyes are, like, on top of it. Or, like, along it. It looks really creepy and cool. I've kind of said that, these creatures are not going to really stand up to any previous Toho monsters. They're just going to kind of be there for Godzilla to kill. I don't know if I stand by that anymore. These things look pretty cool, and they look like they could hold their own in the library of Toho monsters. Maybe not as iconic as characters like King Ghidorah or Mothra or Anguirus or Mechagodzilla or any of those, or Gigan, but they look pretty. They look pretty cool, and they look pretty, identifiable, and they look like they have their own thing going. And they look like they're going to be pretty cool to see Godzilla fight, so I'm really excited and I can't wait to see them. They look like they're going to hold their own. They look really good, and the image of Godzilla fighting what looked like the winged Muto looked pretty badass. He had like the thing wrapped around him, and he was like strangling it with his arms. Oh, God, I can't wait to see this thing in action. Seeing Godzilla fight on the big screen, I may, and this is going to sound weird, but I may cry, because just to see Godzilla in an American movie fighting another monster, it may really affect me, because, and it's again, it sounds weird, but it's like, you gotta understand that I was a kid watching Godzilla movies on a small TV screen. Like, seeing Godzilla 2000 in theaters was a big deal to me, seeing Godzilla fight another monster on the big screen. It's such a big part of my life, and it was so defining for me as a child that seeing it again and seeing it as kind of an adult, I mean, I'm 20 now, I'm 19 going on 20. I mean, it's just going to be big for me, man. It's been a big part of my life, and to see it again and see it, it's going to be a big deal. I may cry, and if I do, my friends will make fun of me because they'll be right there with me, laughing at me, crying. I'll just be like, "Fuck you guys. This is an emotional moment for me, man." And then I'll get robbed on the way home for being, there's that pussy that cried during the fight scene. Let's kick his ass. I don't know, man. I'm just excited. What else do I want to touch on without rambling on for a full hour? I think I'm gonna wrap this up. I think that's all. Dr. Serizawa, I was gonna touch on. I forgot. So let me touch on this. That way, I kind of bring this full circle. So in the course of the past videos I've done, over the course of since the last video I did actually, it's fucking English language. It's been confirmed that. Oh shit, what's his name? Ken Watanabe, I can't believe I forgot his name. Ken Watanabe is playing Dr. Serizawa. Or a Dr. Serizawa. Is he Daisuke? Why did I do that? No, he ain't, honey. He playing Ichiro Serizawa. He ain't playing no Daisuke. You crazy, Konyo. That was potentially racist. If you belong to the Latino or African American ethnicity and you were offended by that, I apologize. I understand it, and I apologize. I shouldn't have done that. But like Shaniqua reviewing Godzilla and shit. I'm sorry. I'll stop. Yeah, he's playing Ichiro Serizawa, not Daisuke, which is a big development, meaning there'd be more than one Dr. Serizawa, at least in theory. And this actually makes sense because, again, in the official trailer, Ken Watanabe, or Dr. Serizawa, was voicing over, talking about what happened in the 50s when Godzilla first appeared, meaning he knows about it and has a personal connection to it. This means that it could easily be explained. We don't know if this is what they're doing, but it would make a lot of sense that his ancestor, Daisuke, was involved in the attacks on Godzilla. So I'm assuming that he's going to have a big connection in that way. That his family was the first family to have encountered Godzilla and have dealt with him. So I'm assuming that's what they're doing, and why they changed his name from Daisuke to Ichiro, that this is a different Dr. Serizawa. Wouldn't it be so fucked up if Ichiro was a reference to Godzilla's Revenge? With the main character, the kid in that movie, being named Ichiro. That'd be so fucked up. I kind of hope they do that now. They probably won't, but that'd be fucked up, wouldn't it? I kind of hope they do that. Like he goes, "This is Godzilla getting his revenge." That would be so fucked up. Gareth Edwards, if you're listening, fucking go back and dub the movie as if he would do that. But just on the miracle that you got really, I don't know, if by some miracle you listen to this, go back and dub that line and have him say that at some point, just for my sake, because everybody else think it's stupid. But I'll be like, it's fucking good, man. Anyway, this is Devolve. I'm really excited. We know he's going to have a big connection to Godzilla. We know he's playing a Serizawa, meaning there's going to be some connections in there somewhere. It's not just a coincidence. They didn't just pick that name out of thin air. And it's going to be more than just a reference. I think it's going to have more weight than that. So Dr. Ichiro Serizawa, I will be very excited to see you in Godzilla 2014. What a corny way to end, man. I'm going to fucking end this on a more badass note. So I'm excited, man. Like, these trailers were some of the best and the best. There's been two before this. But the international trailer, this week of trailers, and the extended look have all been amazing. Again, I'm repeating myself, but I just cannot wait to see this movie on the big screen. I can't wait to see it. It looks amazing. It looks emotional. It looks epic. Godzilla looks destructive. He looks like Godzilla. I just can't wait. It looks perfect. It looks like the perfect storm of a Godzilla reboot. So, it just looks perfect, man. It looks almost perfect. So that being said, I think that's all I'm going to say about these trailers. If there's anything I left out that I should have discussed or that you guys wanted to hear my thoughts on, comments about it, and I'll respond in the comments. Or if you're friends with me on Facebook or you're a member of Toho Nation on Facebook, post a question there. If there's anything I didn't discuss in the video and you want to hear me discuss, I'm on Facebook constantly, so if you post something, I'll more than likely respond to it. If you're on Twitter and you don't have Facebook, if you're on Twitter, you can follow me at Bill_Worster. Underscore as in the symbol, not the word. That'd be weird. And you can ask your questions there as well if there's anything I didn't bring up in this video that you wanted to hear me touch on. So yeah, man, I think that's gonna do it. So that's my thoughts on the week of Godzilla TV spots, the extended look, and the international trailer. Is there anything I'm not mentioning? I don't think so. So yeah, but in terms of marketing stuff separate of Godzilla 2014, because I think I've done my part for that already. Gareth Edwards, you can pay me later. Okay, announcement. I'm sorry, guys, it's late, and I'm tired, so I'm sorry if I'm like rambling and not making much sense. I don't do that anyway, so whatever, deal with it. Announcements. SOS stuff. Sorry, no pods this week. SOS went up during the week. So at least you guys have that to tide you over, but obviously no SOS the following week because we do that show bi-weekly. But no Demons from Outer Space this week. I'm sorry, guys. Due to me seeing Captain America the Winter Soldier, look for my review coming soon, Dylan and I were unable to sit down and do a DFOS, so no DFOS this week. Sorry about that. I'm heartbroken about it. I love doing that show. It's a fun thing to do. Dylan and I both have a ball doing it. So, and that means I didn't get to talk to my buddy this week, man. I mean, not only do I co-host the show with him, but he's also a good friend of mine. So I didn't get to talk to my buddy this week. So, it's sad for everybody. But look for so we're gonna do a big fucking episode next week. I don't know what we're gonna do, but I'm gonna make sure that next week is kick ass. In order to make up for missing this week. So it's going to be a kick-ass episode next week, I promise. And if it's not, blame Dylan. So no SOS, no DFOS. I believe Andres and Adam and David put up a shoe watch, though. So you've got... And if you don't listen to Shoe Watch, which is the second SOS spinoff podcast featuring Adam, David, and Andres, go listen to that on Kaiju Noir's channel to get caught up on all their shenanigans and all their stuff. And listen to them make fun of me a lot. It's so mean spirit. I don't know why, man. I don't know why I put up with it. I should do like a video being like, oh, fuck you guys. You guys are mean. Nah, it's fine. We make fun of them on our show too, so everybody's happy. Anyway, so anything else to announce? No, not really. I guess I could announce other stuff, but I kind of want to sit on it for now. I've got other stuff coming up, guys. And Godzilla 2014 stuff, even. I've got stuff coming up, man. I got a plan. Bill Worster has got a plan. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? I mean, Godzilla Palooza was originally the intention to build up to Godzilla 2014, so it's like, oh, I've already done that, so what to do now? I got a plan, guys. I got a plan, so be excited. Be excited. But until next time, I am Zazubaar, and demand to know, because you have a right to know. Sayonara, kids.